Once again, welcome to the War Room. We are pretty much where we left at the end of the last episode. So we fixed our border gore problem with Hungary by big brain time, simply full annexing them. And I'm fairly satisfied with the way that our northern border has turned up so far. I mean, obviously we're going to annex all of these stragglers over here to get prettier borders, etc., etc. But the north is pretty okay, so now we're going to turn our gaze westwards. And soon enough, we will be declaring a war against Castile to continue our conquest of the Iberias. Now, there were a couple of comments in the last episodes asking about some stuff, so I'm going to go through them one by one. Someone asked about rebels. As you can see, I have a bunch of rebels growing, but none of them are a threat right now. Or, correction, one of them is. The Armenian Patriots are going to rise pretty soon, and we will have essentially an Armenian revolt in eastern Anatolia. But that's pretty okay, they aren't as strong. They can't really do much against us. And the reason for this is, as you can see, the majority of our country is either Turkish or Greek, because the Anatolian beyliks that you've annexed so far actually did a great job with assimilating everyone in their provinces. So we're doing fairly okay in the culture front. And since both Turkish and Greek are accepted cultures, we don't get any rebels from them. Now, the Francian here are a bit of a trouble, but because they're only, concentrated in a couple of urban locations, and more importantly, because they're pretty much all slaves, they are not going to pose a large threat. So we might get a slave rebellion eventually. It's growing, but it's not growing all that fast. And, the reason we aren't having much rebels is because pretty much all of our empire is subjects. And all of these subjects, they have the right culture and the right religion for their population, because I haven't started converting them. I haven't started enforcing culture or religion on them yet. Or rather, I have started, but we only have a couple of them that I've enforced right now. So as you can see, we've enforced on Cyprus, for example, but most of the others still retain their original culture and religion. And you might be thinking, how come your vassals aren't super disloyal? Well, as you can see, they've started growing disloyal. So we get a huge amount of opinion penalties, and we also get a bunch of country strength of all fiefdoms or all vassals versus overlord. But there are a couple of things here. One is that I've been doing a trick, basically a borderline exploit, where if you don't stay at peace for too long, your vassals simply don't disband their levies. So right now, as you can see, Tarnovo only has 44 men, whereas we would expect them to have an army of 2,000, 3,000 maybe, simply because I don't stay at peace for long enough for any of these guys to disband and re-raise their levies. If they did, if I stayed at peace for, say, a couple of months instead of just a couple of days, they would immediately get insane strength modifiers. And this is basically how I've been managing to keep under or around my diplo cap, because most of the diplo cap usage is from relative power, and most of the relative power is from their levies. And if they can't raise additional levies, well, obviously their diplo cap usage will be low, and also, as you can see over here, their liberty desire will also be fairly manageable. Now, the other question was, what are you doing with the RGOs and the infrastructure? And regarding the RGOs, as you can see here, I've built up Constantinople and Bursa, and also Akyazı over here, because, silk and a good amount of control means we are getting insane amounts of money from these two RGOs. And I've also built up all of our saffron manufactories to the max allowed level. So we've got 4 in the Anatolian mainland, we've got 1 over here, and these guys are all built up to their max. And as you can see, if you go over to Constantinople here, Oops. We are selling saffron to the entire world. We're supplying everyone with saffron. From Fez to Alexandria to Sarai over here. And we are bringing in so much profits from all of this. It's just insane. Like, as you can see here, we're selling 6 saffron in Alexandria as we speak. And you can do this even if you don't expand like mad, as I have done here. I don't even need the trade income because I'm getting 150 ducats per month from my vassals. But if you were to just stick around in Western Anatolia and, this general area, all of the saffron manufactories are located in Western Anatolia. And you can get 2, 3, even 4 of them fairly early into the game, so you can still do this build up saffron and then sell it to the entire world strategy in order to bring in the big bucks from trade. That's one possibility essentially. And other than that, I've been building up some scriptoriums because obviously I've been building up a bunch of libraries. Libraries are just so good. They give extra literacy, they give institution growth, they give local pop promotion speed, etc. etc. So I built up libraries in all of my urban locations, and in fact I'm going to complete them right now. There we go. And all of these libraries obviously consume a huge amount of books. So we're going to be building some scriptoriums as well. In fact, let's get like 3 in Constantinople and another 3 in Izmit and another 3 in Bursa. And also we've been building up the fine cloth, the Tailors Guild in Constantinople to max level. And the reason for this is this consumes silk, and because Constantinople has so much silk, it gets an extra 10% production efficiency. And because we built this up so high, we're also getting an extra nearly 15% production efficiency. So this is just such a lucrative trade right now, both because of all the profits that we are getting from the Tailors Guild itself, and because we are selling fine cloth to certain markets as well. So we're getting a decent amount from selling it to Alexandria, for example. And as you can see, we're also collecting a decent amount from the sound tolls of everybody else, of all the other countries that have trade routes going through from Constantinople to other markets. Now for infrastructure, we are going to be pushing naval. As soon as we have the dock building unlocked and the protected harbor, hopefully, we are going to start building them up. We will have additional sailors and we will build navy. So we will have about 100 ships patrolling the Aegean and the Marmara Seas and eventually the Black Sea as well. And that's going to allow us to push naval proximity. As you can see, we already have okay proximity to Smyrna thanks to our naval routes here. Ideally, I want to rush naval proximity to Selanik, to Athena, and to Candia over here. So to the west side of the Aegean as well, and down here to Crete and Rhodes. And as soon as we get enough maritime presence and proximity over here, the Aegean is going to be a safe lake, and we're going to have decent amount of control all around it. But of course, first we need to unlock docks so we can actually create more ships. And since we're going to be pushing naval proximity, I've taken the liberty of making our ruler an admiral. And since he went into a couple of naval wars, they were all easy, he had basically no risk of dying, he got himself an admiral trait, which is pretty useful when you're trying to push for naval, because as you can see, your ruler having an admiral trait gives you an extra monthly 0.10 push towards naval, and having him as an admiral gives an additional plus 10 push here as well. So overall, you got a decent amount, 0.27 push towards naval, and in fact I might put one guy from the cabinet to push naval as well eventually. And also we want to push some of these other values as well, like jurisprudence you definitely want to push. In the early game, innovative you definitely want to push, because these are both pretty good. Innovative is innovative is especially good because it has quite a lot of events that straight up give you extra research progress. It's got events that give you 5 research progress, 10. I've even seen a couple 15, I think. Although maybe those were country specific events when I was playing as Cahokia or Korea or someone like that. But anyways, we're mostly pushing for naval proximity in this game. And I'm also going to be building a bunch of roads. So if you go to the population map mode here, we're probably gonna get one road down from Bursa over here to Kütahya and maybe even to Karahisar. We're going to build one road from Smyrna to all of these towns here. And we're probably going to build one road going east from Constantinople or Izmit all the way to Ankara, and then maybe even Amasya, Kayseri and Sivas. Although another possibility would be to push naval proximity until Bafra, and then from there get roads down to Amasya, Ladik and Niksar. But I'm not going to be building the roads just yet because roads cost so much in this game. I will be waiting for our next parliament, and hopefully we're going to get expand gravel road network issue. And when you do that, you can easily expand your network for I think a 20-30% discount. But in any case, it makes it much easier, much cheaper to expand your land routes once you get the parliament. Alright, that was a pretty long opening blurb. So what I'm going to do now is, obviously, declare another war. Because we don't want our subjects to grow a pity because we're at peace. So I'm going to make Aragon a co-belligerent. Portugal is a natural co-belligerent because they have a marriage union with Castile. And I'm also going to make England a co-belligerent as well. And the plan is pretty simple. We're going to take out Portugal and Aragon early in the game. And then we're going to destroy the English armies as they start landing in the mainland. And then from there on, we're just going to carpet siege Castile and take a bunch of land, expand our domains in Iberia. So I'm going to choose the claims on province CB here. And well, here goes nothing, I guess. Our glorious army has arrived in Iberia, and we've found the Castilians waiting for us. So we outnumber them, we have better quality, we have the better general, the terrain will be to our benefit. Let's see how good of a battle this was. Well, not as good as I'd hoped for, but you know, we still got a decent bit of their army destroyed. So I guess now we have from here 2 options. We can either go over to Portugal. Oh, but we can't go over. We can, okay. Okay, I think we're going to let the Castilians retreat. They're probably going to come back because they want to siege down Lleida. And we're going to take our own armies over to the other side here. And we're going to wipe out the Portuguese and Castilian stacks on the far side of Iberia. Because ideally, we want to get naval superiority over northern Iberia as soon as possible. Oh, wait. Okay, we don't actually need that. It looks like the British are trying to go for our vassals' possessions in Germany. So our vassals should be easily able to counter them here. And if they don't because they're disloyal, they're still going to, you know, suffer a lot of attrition because of the lack of food and winter and all that stuff. So we can probably let the British be for now and focus entirely on Iberia. And let's send our boys over to the far side of Iberia and take Portugal out of the war first. So that is stack wipe number 1, and this over here is going to be stack wipe number 2 as soon as our forces arrive. Oops. Wow, that's a tough call, isn't it? I'll get the tradition. There we go, stack wipe number 2. And the Castilians haven't shown their faces yet. So I think let's start occupying Portugal over here. And then as soon as the Castilians arrive, they're probably going to spawn from the east here. I'm sending my navy back to Anatolia to collect the remainder of our forces. We're probably going to get all of our forces gathered somewhere around here and then attack the Castilians. But for that we first have to see where they are. We have inflicted another defeat on the Castilians and they're retreating westwards, but we are not going to pursue them. We're in fact going to go... Okay, let's go over here. We're in fact going to go east because as you can see the British have landed in full force. So they have 3.5 stacks just sieging down the countryside of our vassals. And we want to get to these stacks as soon as possible, especially this one since their siege is progressing a little unlike the others who are stuck at minus 49%. And as soon as we've defeated the British armies once and for all, we can go back to Iberia. Right now, the Castilians, as I said, are retreating westwards, and I have one concern here, in that they might try to relieve the siege of Villarreal, which would be pretty disastrous for us. Like, we have a god general leading this siege, and I hope it resolves before the Castilians decide that they're going to kill our undefended troops here. But, you know, that's a risk that we need to take in order to inflict defeat upon the British. Thankfully, our 100 admin general did quick work of the Portuguese fort here. It only took 5 months, which is extremely fast as far as sieges go. So now we're going to retreat our troops back over here a bit. And as soon as the countryside has been occupied, we can peace out Portugal, because as you can see, our vassals have already taken care of their possessions down south. So I might actually wait a little, because I don't want to hold the land myself, probably. Alright, let's wait a little. Let's push our armies back, at least until our major stack has arrived from the east. And speaking of which, well, things aren't looking pretty for the British, because they have started to starve, because, surprise surprise, if you don't have supply lines in enemy territory, you start to starve. Bummer, I mean, who would have guessed, right guys? The battle went as expected. I mean, we did stack wipe them, but at the same time we didn't stack wipe them. We managed to stack wipe half of their army, the half that belonged to their vassals. And we are kind of low on morale because we kind of force marched our troops over here. Now let's see. Oh, they actually rerouted their stack over here from Milan westwards to help us. And oh, they even rerouted this stack too. See, this is what I mean by the AI doesn't know how to hold sieges. They see a battle going on here, and even though they know that they can't reach it in time, they just start to march. So now I guess I'm going to go north. Or, okay, you know what? We're going to pursue these guys. They're going towards Geneva. And I'm guessing they'll head to somewhere over here because they see this as a friendly territory. And while we're doing that, we can probably meet up with these guys and, you know, inflict another defeat on them. And then we can easily mop the floor with the starving British soldiers over here. I actually let that British stack go because I saw a better opportunity here. There we go. These guys are going to get a -3 on their die roll. And let's see how it goes. Okay, it wasn't as big a defeat as I expected. But you know, we still managed to win, so that's good, I guess. And now we're going to pursue this larger stack instead. And also, interestingly enough, these guys seem to be going in this general direction, and I have no idea where they're headed. Like, they might be headed to somewhere over here. Huh. Hold up, do they have maybe... I'm not sure how we can see, like, military access. Okay, the UI is definitely worse. Because in EU4 you could just tell at a glance who got military access from whom. Maybe they aren't getting any military access, I don't know. Anyways, we're going to pursue these guys and hopefully we will be able to catch them and stack wipe them. We have good news. The docks have been unlocked. And that means we're going to start spamming them everywhere that we can. Oh, we can mass build them over here. Nice. There we go. Everywhere we can, as I mentioned, and you can only build them in urban locations, unfortunately. And they're going to take a while both to build and for them to be manned, because most of the locations do not have enough soldiers to man the docks, actually. Can we build more wharfs? We can't, we've got all of them already. So once our docks have completed building up, we're going to have a glut of sailors. And that should allow us to start building a proper fleet to patrol the Aegean Sea and keep pushing control from a naval axis. For some reason I can't catch the British. Like, they keep moving into neutral third countries and, you know, they don't even seem to have military access, so I really don't understand how they're doing this. Or maybe there's something I'm missing regarding how military access works in U5, but we're going to try and catch them on the other side essentially, and I'm not sure if it will work, but if it does, you know, this is probably going to be a stack wipe. And it was not a stack wipe, but they're retreating south, so hopefully the next battle is going to be a stack wipe. The next battle was a stack wipe. Even though they went north instead of going south, I just hate it when the AI does that little trick where they go in one direction for one location and then just, you know, tiptoe and go in the other direction right afterwards. But anyways, that was one more British stack down. Now they're down to 15,000 men, because I'm guessing our vassals took care of a couple more of their stacks somehow. And as you can see, the Castilians are back, so we're going to take our forces down south over here and we're going to transport them to Castile. And would you look at that, we have another revolt. This time it is Tunis revolting against Kabylia. And do they have any allies? No, our vassals should be able to take care of this. Or maybe not, or they should be able to take care of this, just look at those numbers. The Timurids attacking Golden Horde was not on my bingo card, but here we are, I guess. Oh my god, just look at this. So the Golden Horde is embroiled in a civil war, and they're being attacked by Timur. And this is probably the worst timeline for us, because, you know, once this guy is done eating the Golden Horde up, he's probably going to turn his attention to us. And in the meantime, Egypt is part of the coalition now, so I'm improving relations with them. Wait. Okay, they only have 35 antagonism, so we should be able to reduce this enough for them to leave the coalition, hopefully. I'm improving relations with them. And I'm guessing as soon as our truce with France runs out, they are going to join the coalition as well, so we're probably gonna have to cut the war in Iberia short and focus on fighting against France, I guess. And yikes, this is not ideal. We are not amused. Thankfully it is Parliament time again, and fingers crossed that we get the... Oh no, we didn't get it. I was really hoping that we could get the expand gravel road network, but alas, So I guess we're just going to fund farming estates. And this is pretty okay actually. It gives us, as you can see here, expand farming cost and expand raw materials time. So, oh, okay, that's interesting. But this is just in Sivas. Yeah, okay. So we don't want to pass this. If this was like Bursa instead of Sivas, I would have definitely gone for it. But for now, let's see. Let's see if there are any farms that we can expand. Definitely these over here. And as you can see, they cost a fair bit less. Like a third less compared to what we would have normally. So I'm going to make full use of this. I'm going to expand the farms. Wool. Wool is also farmed, right? Yes. There we go. And I'll expand you a little as well. But anyways, we're going to use the issue here to expand some farming estate. Now, do we want anything else? We could ask for a law change here. So, Sharia law is not ideal actually, because it gives you minus tolerance and the plus 10% pop conversion speed isn't all that good. So I could go for civil law for the legislative efficiency or traditional law for the satisfaction equilibrium. But this is just so low, it doesn't really matter. So I'm going for the civil law here. And let's get some support for traditional economy. And burger mansions, what do those do? Would I just give extra power and food consumption? Alright, the burgers are pretty satisfied. I'm going to take this as well. And we can lessen levy obligations as well. I mean, it reduces the nobles' levy size, but the noble levies are basically non-existent in the early game, so... Oh wait, I don't want to go for that. I want to first pick something. Okay. I think we're going to ask for larger levies here. We could also get another law change. Like, feudal administration is good, but maybe I would rather have the efficiency of cabinet. Or maybe legislative efficiency, that could work as well. Border controls doesn't matter. Oh, censorship. Okay, so if we go for no censorship, it gives you innovative, humanist, and individualist push, all of which are great. It gives you extra tolerance and cultural influence. And most importantly, there are quite a few events from no censorship that give you pretty decent bonuses. So I think I'm going to go for this one. And then lessen their levy obligations. Increase opinion. This won't really do anything for us. Okay, so we'll wait a bit, see if we get any events or anything, and if not, we are going to get extra levies once again by the time that the parliament is about to end. Our forces are back in Iberia, and I'm going to try and catch the Castilian stack over here. I think we got... oh no, we left behind 2,000 men. Okay, let's bring them over as well, as soon as possible. And let's bring you guys up to Alcaraz. And this, my friends, is why you shouldn't leave your vassals unattended. So the way that this works is if your vassal is disloyal, if they have below 50% subject loyalty, they can, and they do, make separate pieces. And that's what happened in this case. So Castile basically almost full annexed them. Ah, geez, we're going to have to deal with everything again. I need a break. I seriously need a break from this game. A couple more battles later, and we have finally managed to wipe the Castilians out alongside the Aragonese. So they only have 3,800 men remaining in all of Iberia. That means we should be able to start carpet sieging these areas. But at the same time, I do want to take a jab at England. But as you can see, they're at war with France, so I don't. It's not really urgent. And what we can do here is we can probably start carpet sieging Iberia, and once we're done with the sieges here, we can put down our levies and raise new ones, and then attack France and England at the same time, so we can attack both of them. Like, if the French occupy English provinces, we can take them from the French, and vice versa if the English occupy French provinces, etc. But I'm not quite sure how that would work. So for now, let's just start occupying the rest of Iberia, and then I can piece out Portugal, Aragon, and then we will see about England and Castile, I guess. I actually managed to fumble this and forgot about the D1, so they just ended up passing that issue, and now we don't have extra levies. But it's going to be a tough 5 years, I guess. So I decided that we're going to at least try to invade England. All of their vassals seem to be fairly loyal, so we're not going to get any separate pieces from there. At this point, I'm going to full annex Portugal. Can we full annex? Yes, we can full annex Portugal. Okay. There we go. So we should be able to raise a bit more levies. Almost 2,000 men. That's good. And once we have joined these levies with our troops here that are 7,500 strong, we should have about a 10,000 invasion force, and we can land in the south of England or maybe in the northeast and try to take London, see what sort of peace deal that we can get out of the English, maybe get them to release someone like Northumbria so we can use them for claims later on, or something to that effect. The British campaign is actually going pretty okay. We've managed to occupy parts of the countryside, and we've stack wiped the Welsh, which is always a good thing. So we have 5,000 Englishmen that we need to face in battle eventually. Or maybe not. There's a good chance that they're in continental Europe actually. And really what we want to do here is... Honestly, I'm not sure what we want to do. Like, we definitely want to take something from England, because we want to start cutting them down to size. But at the same time, I'm not quite sure what we want. Maybe we can get them to, say, dismantle forts in this war, and then it'll be easier to invade them in the next war. Or maybe we can... Okay, we should probably liberate at least a part of Northumberland, so they start producing claims on the British that we can use in the next war. But other than that, I'm guessing I'll just take a bunch of money and maybe annul treaties with Castile, so we don't have to deal with both of them at the same time in the next wars. And we have another major update. We have finally finished annexing the Karamanids, so now all of central Anatolia is also under our control. Although I'm fairly certain that the maximum control here will fall down very soon because of everything going on, because how far it is from our capital. But eventually we can get a road over from Izmit, and this should be a fairly lucrative area for us to develop in the medium term. Now, in other news, as you can see, in Iberia we've pretty much finished occupying all of Aragon and Castile, and we could end the war. But in England, the siege of London isn't going as well as I hoped it would, so I kinda changed the strategy here a little. Essentially, I sent all our guys up northeast so that they could occupy these areas which have no forts. And I'm hoping that we get a bit of war score. There we go, we get a decent bit of war score from there. So now first we're going to peace out England, and as you can see, I want them to release Northumberland essentially. Or rather, I want to take East Riding so we can release Northumberland ourselves. And Northumberland should start fabricating on the British uh, as soon as we release them. Galloway, that's also interesting. Now, other than that, I'm going to get them to annul treaties with Castile, so we don't have to fight both of them at the same time. And I'm going to get war reps and money and... Where was the... Oh, we can dismantle forts. You know what? I'm going to get them to dismantle as many forts as I can. In fact, I might as well get them to dismantle their forts instead of getting that money. But you know, that money is probably going to impact them more. Okay, so dismantle, so get money first and then dismantle a few forts. Or you know what? In fact, I'm going to wait for a tiny bit longer because we still have some sieges going on here. And they should be more accepting of a slightly better peace deal in maybe 1 month or something like that. Alright, we've occupied a bit more of England, and this is going to be our final treaty. Full cash, war reps, annul treaties with Castile, and I'm going to get them to dismantle forts over here in 3 locations essentially. And also East Riding so we can release Northumberland. And they are going to accept this. There we go. So now I'm going to try something. I'm going to take our guys over here. I'm going to take our regulars. Oh wow, we have so few regulars left and we don't even have enough manpower to reinforce them. Alright, so these guys are gonna get disbanded. I'm not 100% sure, but from my playing so far, it doesn't look like your levies actually suffer any casualties when you disband them in enemy territory, which honestly it makes no sense. Like, how are these guys going to get back home from England all the way over here to say Kütahya? Makes no sense, but that's how the game works, so whatever. So let's get our guys back on the regular navy over here. And as soon as we have them, there we go. We're going to dismantle our levies, our naval levies as well. And then we're going to full annex Aragon. I'm also going to take their Sardinian territory so we can release that as a vassal. And do we have... Alright, we're also going to humiliate them. We do need the extra prestige at this point. And we're going to take a bit of cash. There we go, Aragon has been dealt with as well. And that leaves only Castile. So, unfortunately we're going to have to basically send 20 war score down the drain, simply retaking the territories they took from our disloyal vassal over here. And after that, did I take... Yes, you had 1 silver province here and I took it. So they don't have any other super important provinces. Like, we could take this over here. That's also silver, but that's not all that productive for them right now. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold up. We definitely want Toledo because there's a river going here, so the vassal that we create here will be able to get extra access using that river. And I'm going to go down the river. So we want this area. And I think there is another river over here as well, so... Okay, maybe something like this, and then this, so the all of the river is in our lands. And can we take this too? Yes, excellent. So this over here is a 99 war score worth of peace deal, and I'm going to take just a tiny bit of money on top of it. And I guess that's going to be the peace. Excellent. So now we have pretty much, I would say, 2/3 of Iberia annexed to our empire. And obviously I'm going to release more vassals here. But really, we're doing pretty fine. Our next target, obviously, is going to be France. So, do we have any levies left? No, we do not. And in fact, we can raise 40,000 men. But that probably includes the guys that we can get from Iberia. And I probably want to release these areas as a vassal. As you can see, most of our vassals are disloyal at this point, and it's basically because of I've created too many fiefdoms and not enough vassals. So I'm going to lean on creating a few more vassals from now on. And really, they aren't terribly disloyal. Like from what I've heard, if this was 1.1, if I was playing on the 1.1 beta, this would have been a major problem because these guys would all start creating a bunch of independence movements. Wait, what happened here? Austria. Oh, wow. Okay, so our vassal actually formed Austria, but they're still our fiefdom. Okay. Okay, nothing to fear. Nothing to fear, folks. Nothing to fear. For a second, I thought a rebellion actually took that land from us. Alright, as soon as our armies in the north have arrived in the Mediterranean, we should be ready to go fight against the French. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to release all of this land as vassals and feed them to my already existing vassals. So we kinda messed up. Or rather, our vassal messed up. Since Toulouse, if you look over here, since they have a core on this location, I was actually expecting them to start creating claims on France, but they did not do that. So now we don't actually have a casus belli that we can use to attack France, and that does put us in a bit of a bind, I guess. So what we're going to do is we're going to instead go east. I'm going to press claims on the Mamluks. And well, I guess we really are doing this. I guess we really are going to war with the Mamluks. So there we go. This gives us a minus 25% conquest and subjugation cost. And well, it does say that they have 70,000 men, including their vassals, and they also have nearly 2,000 regulars. So this is going to be a pretty even match. And the one thing that could probably save us is usually the Mamluks just decide that they're going to naval invade you, and they bring their troops over to Anatolia or sometimes even to the Aegean Islands in small stacks. So hopefully we'll get that. And I even had to cancel a bunch of constructions just to get enough money so we could get our claims. So I'm hoping this goes well, otherwise that's going to be a whole lot of wasted money and time and honestly everything. And just look at that, all our vassals are teetering on the edge of disloyalty. Okay, so I mean, here goes nothing, I guess. And we're going to get our regulars, or at least the 300 remaining regulars that we have, and take them over here to Bursa. And also we're going to gather up our navies in Izmit, I guess. There we go. You too, guys. All of you, all the navies you got. To Izmit. And then we're going to raise our regulars. And gosh, I wish I didn't fall asleep on the last parliament. If we had access to additional levies, this would have been such an easy fight, but now we're actually putting ourselves in some amount of risk. Well, anyways. The Mamluks themselves are nowhere to be seen. They're probably gathering up their forces in Egypt. But it looks like we're going to catch their vassals here. And let's see if we can win this. Oof, okay. So it's not going that well. We will have some reinforcements coming in. And our regulars are on their way as well, but they won't be here for this fight specifically. And oh, there we go. Okay, so the losses aren't too good, but we did manage to inflict twice as many casualties on them. So, and if we wait here a bit, there we go. The Mamluks have arrived. Are these their regulars? I think this was their regulars, yeah, because could they have... Hold on, let me check. Yes, that was their regulars. We actually managed to pretty much wipe out the Mamluk regulars using only our levies. Okay. Okay, that's good to know. Now I'm going to leave behind some men and let's pursue these guys down south. Maybe we might be able to catch them somewhere around here and inflict another defeat. And meanwhile, I'm going to take my navies over here. As you can see, we're pumping out more regulars as we speak in order to replace the massive casualties that these guys took in the Western War. So now we're just going to wait and see. If the Mamluks decide to invade through the sea, they're going to be pretty easy pickings for us. If not, this might turn into a protracted land war over here in Syria, but we will see in a moment. The Mamluks are here. Looks like they really are going to naval invade us. So you might be tempted, if you see an undefended transport stack like this, to simply barge in with your navies and wipe them out, but we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to bring our large army from here, about 21,000 men, and we're going to land in Rhodes. And the reason why we're doing this is, if you wipe out their transports, they will simply stop naval invading you. Whereas if you let the transports go back and just kill off the armies that are landing, they will bring in more and more troops and you can keep stack wiping them until they're exhausted. And is this an exploit? Probably, yeah, because no one in their right mind would try to naval invade Anatolia without having naval superiority here first. But it's the AI, so, you know, I'm going to make use of them. And I'm going to abuse that AI as much as I can in this game. So hopefully the developers will see this video and realize that they should improve the AI for the next couple of patches. As expected, we managed to stack wipe them in Rhodes. It doesn't show it as a stack wipe because technically they had men remaining, but since they had nowhere that they could escape to, they just got wiped. So I'm just going to leave behind, let's say, you guys should be more than enough. And the navies should really have food transport unlocked by default, but for some reason they don't. So we're going to suffer a bit of attrition here. There we go. You guys should load up on food here. Okay, you couldn't load up all the food that we need, but that's okay. We're going to take them east. I saw that there was a large Mamluk stack here, and I'm curious to see where they went exactly. Alright. So we have more Mamluks coming down on Cyprus, which is our vassal. And I'm going to attack the vassal stack over here. Let's see where the Mamluks are. There we go, another stack wipe. Oh, there are the Mamluks. Okay, you guys are gonna be sold to... Oh wait, I was going to sell them to slavery. Alas. Alright, so the Mamluks will arrive in cars. Oh, he's gifted. I think he's my son. Excellent. Wait, no? Interesting. Okay. So this one has the same icon as intelligence, so I thought it was just intelligent. Okay. Whew, this is so exciting. There we go. They outnumber us. There we go. 3 times as many casualties inflicted. Nice. But if this does turn into a war of attrition, I'm not really, well, optimistic about our chances. Because in the end, they have more men than we do, and our vassals are in no position to help us for whatever reason. Like, we do have a few small stacks in North Africa attacking their vassals, but nothing major. And we have to land troops in Cyprus as well, otherwise our vassal is gonna get occupied. So right now, the Mamluks have 27,000 men remaining. We have 28,000. And we have a god general leading our forces. Just look at this guy. 100 military ability. 96 diplomatic ability, which reduces food consumption by practically half. I mean, I love it that we have our son. And this guy is not even going to ascend to the throne. He's just going to be our best general and do nothing other than that. But anyways, let's send our forces down south. And I'm confident that we can just occupy Alexandria and then run around in these parts a bit, maybe try and siege down Cairo. But in general, we basically want to figure out where the Mamluk armies are and finally meet them in open battle so we can destroy their numbers. Our invasion of Egypt is going pretty okay so far. We have captured Alexandria. We are sieging down the forts over here. And unfortunately, the Mamluks have arrived in force. So now I'm going to send my son, the God General Doğukan, whose name means Eastern Blood, to take out this 15,000 strong Mamluk stack. And I guess I'm going to get some reinforcements from south. If the Mamluks start moving, I will not wait for these guys, but let's see how it goes. Okay, there we go. They aren't moving. So let's shift consolidate. Always hold shift so it keeps empty regulars. And balance the unit. And this should be a pretty decent victory, yeah. Okay, so we didn't get as many casualties on those guys as we would have liked, but you know, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth here. And they are going south, and there's no way that we can go after them, unfortunately. Alright, so I'm just going to, let's say, something like this. Alright, you guys go here. You guys siege down Cairo, you guys go to Al Mansura or Al Mansura, yeah, that sounds nice. Or maybe you guys go to Damietta, and I'm going to leave behind, if I can leave behind. Okay, I'm going to leave behind 1,000 men. And let's have you guys join us in Damietta as well. And my reasoning here is, I just saw one of the larger Mamluk armies here, so they're probably going to keep these guys up north, attacking in Syria. And this army is going south, deeper down into the delta. So neither of those forces is going to cause much trouble for us. And we should be able to siege down Al-Mansura in peace. But of course we'll see. Maybe they are going to relocate the large army from there down to the delta. Maybe something else is going to cause us problems, I don't know. So we're going to wait and see, as we usually do. We have a bit of a problem. The Mamluks are indeed coming down south, and their army has, come back up north from the delta as well. So right now all of our armies are in varying amounts of trouble. I'm going to get these two stacks together. And which army do we want to attack first? And do I want to get half of the men over here as well? I think I'm going to take half, and bring them over, and we're going to wait for a sec. Okay, so these guys are going in an easterly direction. You guys are going towards Manuf. Okay, let's see if we can catch this stack over here. And once again, consolidate and balance. Ooh! I did not expect that, okay. I did not expect to see a stack wipe here. Oh my god. Okay, this is awesome. So now hopefully we can do, if not the same, then, at least we can defeat these guys. I'm going to bring a small stack over here to siege down the provincial capital, and okay, not a stack wipe, but we did manage to hurt them. And I presume they're going to go down into the delta as well. Okay, so I'll have you guys join the siege of Cairo again, and I'm going to have you guys hold down Al-Mansura. And as soon as, this army over here respawns from the south, we are going to smash them on the head again. And then we should be able to, subjugate the Mamluks in peace. The Mamluks are back, and they're going to try and break the siege of Damietta. But we can beat them to the punch and meet them on the field here. Unfortunately not a stack wipe, but we managed to cause some serious casualties, and the siege of Cairo is almost done. So once this siege is done, we should be able to allocate our forces more efficiently, since we will only have 2 castles that we need to siege. So turns out the battle over here went much better than expected, because we managed to catch some of the Mamluk vassals off guard and stack wipe them. But I'm not sure where the Mamluks themselves are going. Okay, you know what? It actually doesn't matter where they're going. This is a choke point here, so we can just get our troops and gather the major armies here. And we know for a fact that the Mamluks themselves don't have any armies left in Syria. Their vassals have a significant force, but I think the vassals are more interested in attacking us than in coming to the rescue of these fortresses here. So we're just going to take our guys, go down here to Al-Giza, and hopefully that will be enough to just block the Mamluks from coming back up north. And we can keep sieging in peace. Cairo has finally fallen, and once again, just like with Buddha, we get this cute little flavor event. We get a bit of extra offensive, a bit of extra jurisprudence, both are always welcome, and some prestige. But more importantly, we can now move these armies up north. So I'm going to take our god besieging general over here to Al-Mansura, and these guys to Damietta. And actually, don't send these guys to Damietta. Let them join my son, and let them go south in the Nile Delta. Oh, I guess the Egyptians are over here. Yes, there we go. And we should be able... There we go. Alas, not a stack wipe. But we dealt a fair bit of damage to them. So let's siege down the northern parts of the delta. And then from now on, what's going to happen is they will go south, they will recover morale a bit, and then they will come back up north, and we're just going to beat them until they have been stack wiped. And then we can relocate everyone up north to deal with the remaining Mamluk vassals. Well, but it does look like our vassals beat us to the punch in that front as well. Renaissance thought has been researched, and now we can add another government reform to our government. With so many subjects, I think the feudal nobility here is the clear winner. But, there are a couple honorable mentions, I would say. Local army organization is definitely good for the extra levy size, agricultural cultivation for extra food, and the plutocratic ethos is just really, really nice, like extra legislative efficiency, extra base support. The plutocracy push, I'm not quite sure about. And other than that, royal decree because of the crown power, privy council because of the tax efficiency. Honestly, we have so many great options here. Like even feudal theocracy because you get extra clergy satisfaction and extra pop conversion speed. But, if you look at our subjects, most of them are teetering on the edge of this loyalty, so I'm just going to take feudal nobility here and call it a day. And when we get another reform slot, we can probably slot in something else. Or maybe once we've started annexing our subjects a little, we can replace this for something else too. But for now, we're going to keep sieging down the remaining forts of Egypt. And let's see when they will accept a peace. So it's been quite a while. And I got the parliament again. And finally it was expand gravel road network. So now we're building a lot of roads all across Anatolia. At the same time, as you can see here, we've got our navies being built up. We have really good sailors per month. We can get, I think, 1 galley per month. Yep, it takes 60 sailors. We produce 57 a month, and that's even going to go higher once we get a couple more docks around here. We finished annexing the Jandarids, so now all of Anatolia proper is held by our own country. And it is time that we peace out the Mamluks. So the Mamluks turned out to be a lot more obstinate than I expected. And normally I wanted to just separate Cairo from the rest of the country so that their control would tank and I will be able to take everything else in the next war, just like what I did with Hungary. But as you can see, the minus 60 modifier for leaving the recipient too fractured is pretty damn concerning. So I'm just going to take Cairo for myself. And this will make them move their capital down south somewhere, I suppose. And we can just slowly annex their Asian holdings. And do we want to take maybe a bit more land here? Yeah, sure, why not? Okay, I'm going to piece them out like this. And this gives us the fate of the Caliph, which can either give us a decent bit of jurisprudence and ulama satisfaction, or a bunch of legitimacy, and all our Muslim pops will gain satisfaction. I think I'm going to choose this one for the extra jurisprudence. And that's it. Now we control the Egyptian Delta. I'm going to hold this land directly, actually. I'm going to start integrating. Let's start with Alexandria. Because eventually, as you can see, this isn't too far from our heartlands, because we only have like 1, 2, 3 sea tiles over here thanks to the large tiles in the middle of the Mediterranean. So we will eventually be able to push some control through the delta. And if I created a vassal here, they would just be way too strong for us to handle. And I think that's it for this episode. So another thing has happened while I was filming this episode. It turns out that the 1.1 update is going to hit live tomorrow on the 5th of March. And I'm going to schedule this for tomorrow for the 5th of March. So by the time that you are watching this, EU5 will finally have the 1.1 official update. And that means I'm just going to leave this game. But I'm going to give you guys a final farewell gift, and I will produce one more episode of this series. It's going to be more like a chronicle, essentially, where I will detail which wars I fight and what exactly I do in order to conquer the rest of Western Europe and of North Africa and the Levant. So, as I said, at the start of this series, our goal here is to get Mehmed's ambition. And to do that, obviously, we need to fight the Mamluks, annex them, annex France, annex Castile, and annex most of England, along with a bit more of the HRE, essentially, to get Roman Empire borders. And well, I am going to do that before 1.1 hits. It's just that I'm going to, just give you guys not a lot of details, but it's just going to be like, I went to Castile, we went to war, I took this land, etc, etc, etc. And I'm going to try and cut it short and give you guys essentially 1 hour of me conquering everybody else and getting Mehmed's ambition. So that's basically it for today. And I will definitely do more series, but they're all going to be on patch 1.1. And I'm going to take a couple days to essentially get familiar with what has changed, what has stayed the same, which of the tricks, exploits that I've used in this game are still valid, and so on and so forth. So it's going to take a while. I might go offline for the next few days, but trust me, I will be back. And I hope to see you guys once again in the War Room.